Thành phố Boston có gần 400 tuổi, là thủ phủ của tiểu bang Massachusetts, một trong 13 tiểu bang đầu tiên của nước Mỹ. Boston Duck Tour là một trong những tour tham quan nổi tiếng nhất thế giới vì chiếc xe con vịt này vừa chạy được trên đường vừa chạy được dưới nước. Trong suốt hành trình 80 phút, những chú vịt này sẽ đưa chúng ta tham quan hơn 30 địa danh nổi tiếng ở thành phố Boston và mang đến cho chúng ta nhiều hiểu biết về văn hóa lịch sử của thành phố xinh đẹp này. Trên xe có một bác vừa là tài xế vừa là thuyền trưởng và một anh hướng dẫn viên vui tính trong trang phục luật sư sẽ thuyết minh cho du khách xuyên suốt chuyến đi. Video này giữ nguyên giọng nói bằng tiếng Anh của anh hướng dẫn viên vì anh có lối kể chuyện hấp dẫn, pha chút hài hước đem lại tiếng cười cho du khách. Đặc biệt, mỗi khi gặp một chiếc xe con vịt khác chạy ngang qua, cả đoàn sẽ cùng hô to. Nào, bây giờ chúng ta hãy bắt đầu hành trình khám phá thành phố Boston bằng Duck Tour nhé. Đi Duck Tour nha. Lucy chuẩn bị đi nè. Lucy, con thích không Lucy? Thích lắm. Mami à, con thích lắm. Đây là Prudential Center, trung tâm thương mại ở tòa tháp cao thứ 2 của thành phố Boston. Trạm xe Duck Tour cũng nằm ở góc đường tòa tháp này. Địa chỉ là 111 Huntington Avenue. Đây là chỗ bán vé Boston Duck Tour. Đây là con vịt Duck Tour. Muốn biết thêm thông tin về tour này thì lên website bostonducktours.com. Đây là chỗ cho mọi người ngồi chờ để đến giờ lên xe nha. Còn ai mà mua vé online thì hãy đến quầy phía bên đây để cho người ta biết là mình đã có mặt rồi. Những ai mà đi mà có mang theo xe đẩy con nít hay là cho người lớn thì cũng có thể gửi xe đẩy tại đây. Lúc mình mua online thì đã có sẵn số ghế ngồi của mình trên xe rồi. Tới giờ lên xe rồi, mọi người xếp hàng lên xe nha. Rosie có thẻ Service Dog cho nên được đi lên xe. Giá vé cho một người lớn là 52 đồng 75 cent. Cộng thêm cái tiền mà mình book online á, một cái vé như vậy là 4 đồng 65 cent nữa. Nhà mình mua tổng cộng 4 vé là 230 đô. Hello, xin chào. Chúng ta đang nghe những hướng dẫn khi gặp trường hợp khẩn cấp. Còn đây là anh hướng dẫn viên sẽ giới thiệu những danh lam thắng cảnh và lịch sử ở những nơi mà xe chạy qua. Ôi, Rosie thương mami quá trần luôn kìa.
My friends, I've gathered you all here today in hopes that should you be burdened by similar malfeasances, you'll seek my representation. Our plan today is to squire you around the beautiful city of Boston in hopes to stoke a passion within you. A passion for justice, a passion for history, a passion for Duncan. America runs on Duncan, you know.
Đây là Prudential Center, là điểm xuất phát của tour đi nha. Xe bắt đầu chạy rồi. Ngồi phía sau nên xe chạy rất là dằn nha.
That means I can represent you too. Look, I'll make the jokes with or without you. That joke still hasn't found what it's looking for. Hey, you're probably wondering what breed of horse we're on and how the devil it got so large. Well, silly, this is no horse at all. This is a duck. And our duck today is named Red Sox Nathan, and driving Nathan is the incredible Captain Drake. Give it up for Captain Drake.
Hướng dẫn viên giới thiệu bắt tài xế tên là
Drake will be driving us
Ray.
safely through the ever-changing and bustling streets of Boston, so we ask that you do your part in helping to make sure this is a safe tour. Please remain seated at all times. Don't let your kiddos stand on the seats. Keep your arms, legs,
Anh
hands, and
dặn
feet
mọi
inside
người
the
đừng
duck
để tay ra
windows.
cửa sổ
There is
nha.
no smoking or vaping of any kind on tour. Now you may notice people get really excited when they see Captain Drake, Teeth the Shark.
Mỗi khi mà gặp một chiếc xe duck tour đi ngang qua thì mọi người sẽ theo hiệu lệnh của anh hướng dẫn viên mà kêu lên.
Fantastic. Feel free to make animal noises in public for the rest of the day. On the left here, this is the Christian Science Plaza. Christian Science was the first internationally recognized woman. It was founded by Mary Baker Eddy in 1879. The plaza here was
Kiến
designed
trúc
by
sư
I.M.
thiết
Pei,
kế
world-renowned architect,
Christian
graduated
Science
from
Plaza,
MIT School of
tốt nghiệp
Architecture in
từ Đại học
1940.
MIT nổi
I.M. Pei
tiếng.
designed a few things in Boston. He designed the Christian Science Plaza. He designed City Hall Plaza and designed the John F. Kennedy Presidential Library in South Boston. On the right here is the Sheraton Hotel. It's the largest hotel by number of rooms, circa 1600s, laminated circa 2022, fingerprint circa just a few seconds ago. Shaman is an Algonquin word that means living waters. I made a little kid cry. That's how bad that joke is. If you've got beef with my steak jokes, let's check in after the tour. Straight in front of us, this brick building used to be a combination police station, fire station. The police station is now part of Boston Architectural College, but the fire station is the oldest active fire station in Boston. Engine 33, ladder 50. We're on Boylston Street right now. This is the last stretch of the
Anh
Boston
đang giới
Marathon.
thiệu về
The
giải
Boston
chạy
Marathon
đua
is the oldest
Boston
continually
Marathon
run
nổi tiếng
marathon
khắp
in
thế
the
giới.
world. The first Boston Marathon was run in 1897. Just 15 men ran that year. In April, we had the 128th Boston Marathon. Over 30,000 people ran this year. Anybody on board ever run the Boston Marathon? My next question would be why, because it's too far to run. Let's quack at these people. 1, 2, 3, my back!
Vòng vòng lại cũng trở lại đây hả?
Isn't it fun to quack? Has anybody seen my neck brace? I lost
Rồi đến
it.
show Central nhưng mà cái
Has anybody been on a duck tour before?
yes me.
Welcome back, my friends. The other day I asked that question. There was a little kid sitting right here, and she said, "This is my 6th duck tour." I said, "Holy cow, 6?" At the end of the tour, I followed back up with her. I said, "Of the duck tours, where does my tour rank?" And without missing a beat, she goes, "5th." He stopped asking questions. In 1980, a woman named Rosie Ruiz won the women's Boston Marathon. She came in 16 minutes faster than her recent New York Marathon finish. She was not sweating even a drop at the finish line, and she could not answer any questions about the course she had supposedly just run. People dug in a little deeper. It turned out that Rosie Ruiz had taken the subway for most of the marathon. We call that cheating. But that's the best our subway's ever done. The MBTA, better known as the T, the Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority, was the first subway system in
Gì vậy con?
started running in 1897. The same year, the Boston Marathon started running. The restaurant with the blue awnings on the right is one of 2 Gordon Ramsay restaurants here in Boston. That's Gordon Ramsay Kitchen. Down by the Rose Kennedy Greenway, we have the Gordon Ramsay Burger Restaurant down the Greenway. Anybody here from Boston today?
Yes.
Yes.
Ish, you're from Boston? Okay, you're my fact checkers. If you weren't here, I would lie for the rest of the tour. On the left is the Eiffel Tower. Just kidding, that's in Australia. We're creeping into Copley Square. Copley Square was named after portrait painter John Singleton Copley. Coming up after the historic Lenox Hotel is the main branch of Boston's public library on the right. Boston had the first free public lending library system in the United States.
Hello.
I'm very famous. You're going to see paparazzi snapping shots of me all over the city. There's 2 buildings in the main branch of Boston Public Library. This first building on the other side of Exeter Street is the Johnson Wing, built in 1971. And in about a block, we're going to go over the marathon finish line.
No.
When we go over the finish line, I would like you to make some noise as if we just won. My favorite part about making noise at the finish line is it's right next to the library. Maybe we can get a librarian to come out
Mami,
and
nó
tell
đợi
us
qua
some shit.
Mami kìa.
And here we go, over the finish line. Make some noise!
Woohoo!
They just won the marathon. Here's the Charles McKim building on the right, built in 1895.
Quá
Also a
đẹp.
free art and history museum, the Charles McKim building. Stunning building, part of Boston Public Library, the main branch. If you look under the second floor windows there, those names are famous authors, architects. On the left, you'll see a tall church. This is the tallest steeple in Boston, the Church of the Covenant, built in 1867, designed with raw spray pudding stone. That is the state stone of Massachusetts. It's only found in 2 places in the world, Massachusetts and off the coast of Morocco. Because this is an old and large church, it needs additional support underneath it because everything we've been driving on since the beginning of the tour used to be water. This is the Back Bay neighborhood. It used to be the Back Bay of the Charles River. There are over 300
Boston
trees
Common
from around the
Garden
world on display
với
at
hơn
Boston's public
300 loài
garden,
cây trên khắp thế
including 4
giới được
redwood
trồng tại đây.
trees. If you've ever fantasized about being chased by a large and slow bird, your dreams could come true right here at the lagoon. We've got our iconic swan boats owned and operated by the Paget family since 1877.
Boston là thành phố đầu tiên giải phóng nô lệ vào năm 1780.
A statue of Wendell Phillips. This statue is designed by Daniel Chester French, who is best known for his Abraham Lincoln statue at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C.
Chúng ta đang đi ngang qua tòa nhà Statehouse nổi tiếng. Statehouse được xem như là tòa nhà quốc hội của tiểu bang, là nơi làm việc của thống đốc, phó thống đốc và những người làm ra luật của tiểu bang, được bầu bởi những người dân trong tiểu bang.
Mary Dyer is a religious martyr. She came back to Boston. She was hanged on Boston Common in 1660. According to John Adams, she inspired freedom of religion in our First Amendment. Speaking of amendments, on the right is a tavern called the 21st Amendment, celebrating the repeal of prohibition. We can drink again. Huzzah. Coming up on the right here, the legal residence of John F. Kennedy during his presidency and at the time of his death. 122 Bowdoin Street, this green door after the barber shop. Kennedy lived on the 3rd floor of this building, right here. And this is where the tour starts going downhill. This is the north slope of Beacon Hill. One of the largest populations of free black Americans lived here prior to the Civil War. The Civil Rights Movement, the Abolitionist Movement, the Women's Rights Movement all happened here in the 1800s. We're on Bowdoin Street, named after the 2nd governor of Massachusetts, James Bowdoin. His name is spelled B-O-W-D-O-I-N. Looks like it should be pronounced Bowdoin. Who's your governor? Good old governor. We're almost out of the no-quack zone. We can while out shortly. This neighborhood used to be called Scully Square. This was an entertainment district. Till about the mid-1900s, theaters, comedy clubs, and taverns were torn down when the city bought back this land to build high-rises and government buildings during an unfortunate period of Boston's development called urban renewal.
Chị, ba mẹ con đi nè. Chị.
On the right's the easiest tourist attraction for me to point out, Target. When we get hired, they make us stand out in front of Target until we get our point accurate. It took me like 3 weeks. My point was all over the place. I was like, this guy's crazy. In front of us is Dorchester Dottie, one of our 28 duck boats. 28 duck boats in our Boston Duck Tour fleet. These are all replica World War II vehicles called DUKWs. Coming up on the right here is the most aesthetically pleasing building in Boston. This is the Charles F. Hurley Federal Building. It's a style of architecture called brutalism. Brutalism comes from a French term, béton brut, that means raw concrete. This particular building is corduroy concrete. When this building walks around, it goes foot, 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 foot. Coming up on the right, here's the Old West Church. It was a stop on the Underground Railroad, built in 1806. Sadly, today it's a prison for children. You hate to see this. The prisoners are too dangerous to be outside. Look at all those impounded baby buggies. I'm just kidding. Coming up on the left is my favorite Italian restaurant. Who likes Italian food? Me too. I like authentic Italian food. Coming up on the left is my favorite authentic Italian restaurant right behind the bushes here. It's called Domino's. There it is, Domino's. That joke is all about delivery. On the right, the Hurley building was used as the Massachusetts State Police Department in the movie The Departed. This staircase was featured in 3 or 4 scenes in the movie. Leonardo DiCaprio was on those stairs in the movie, so was Martin Sheen. Into the West End we go, another neighborhood devastated by Boston's urban renewal phase. 7,000 immigrants were displaced when the city lied to them and told them they were going to tear down their tenement buildings and replace them with affordable housing that they could then move back into. Instead of affordable housing, the city built high-rises and government buildings for the wealthy. Let's quack at these people. 1, 2, 3, my back! In front of us is the last standing tenement building of Boston's West End, 42 Lemassey Street. Over 50 immigrants used to live in this building. Now it's just 4 units, but people do still live here. Look at how strange this building is. It's the only tenement left on this side of the West End. People still live there. On the right, this is the loading dock of the TD Garden, home of the Boston Bruins and the NBA champion Boston Celtics. Yes, the TD Garden replaced the Boston Garden in September of 1995. Keep looking right, you'll see the Leonard P. Zakin Bunker Hill Memorial Bridge. It's one of the widest cable-stayed bridges in North America. Interstate 93 goes north and south over that bridge. It was built in 2003. It was designed by Christian men. That was one guy's name, not a bunch of Christian dudes. How would you like to have a name that sounds like a dating site? On the left, this beautiful brick hotel is the only hotel in Boston that you've got to pay to leave. They've got tremendous cell service. This hotel is called the Suffolk County Jail. It was designed to look like a hotel because West End residents didn't want an eyesore built in their neighborhood. So it looks like a hotel on the outside, but trust me, it looks like a jail on the inside. Don't ask me how I know that. Into Cambridge we go. Did you know this was a tour of 2 cities? It was the best of tours. It was the worst of tours. Did anyone have great expectations? Not this guy. By the way, if we drive by another duck boat, they're going to quack at us, but we're going to do some weird stuff. Those are cross-examination opportunities. We're not going to give them what they expect. Coming up on the left is the Museum of Science, but first, Tyrannosaurus Rex. Oh my gosh. T-Rex out in front of the museum. Still got its COVID bandit on. Can't reach it, arms are too short. The Museum of Science is an accredited zoo. They do live animal shows several times a day. They've got a live animal care center in their basement. You never know what you're going to see in that live animal care center. The other day I was looking at the windows in the care center, and there was an armadillo on a big hamster wheel, getting its steps in, wearing a Fitbit, watching The Good Place on Netflix. Can't say enough about the museum. They've got the Emugar Omni Theater where you can watch IMAX movies, Charles Hayden Planetarium where you can see the stars indoors, Theater of Electricity, an indoor lightning show. That might be my favorite thing at the museum. But I gotta warn you, sometimes that indoor lightning is so loud that people bolt. Shocking, I know. If you're into current events, check out the Theater of Electricity. Here comes a duck boat. Everybody wave the other direction. Wave the other direction. Keep waving. Here's another one. Just keep waving this way. Nice. Doesn't that feel good? My friends, we're about to drive by a piece of Germany's Berlin Wall. We've got 4 pieces of the Berlin Wall in Massachusetts. The piece they're about to see was a gift to Bertel Holtz on his 50th birthday. Slab of concrete with some graffiti on it. It's going to be on the left. The Berlin Wall was torn down between East and West Berlin in 1989. And this is the West Berlin side of the wall with the graffiti on it right there. Isn't that crazy? That is really a piece of Germany's Berlin Wall. We've also got a piece of the Stowe History Museum in Stowe, Massachusetts, a piece at UMass Amherst in Western Massachusetts, and a piece at the John F. Kennedy Presidential Library in South Boston. Bertel Holtz founded the Holt International Business School. He also founded Education First. This is their North American headquarters on the right. They do language and exchange programs. It's a Swedish company. This is a Swedish building. They built this building using only IKEA parts. It took forever. They lost that little Allen wrench. What a nightmare. Here comes another duck boat. Let's bark like dogs at this duck boat. This is Molly Molasses. Let's give it to him. 1, 2, 3. Just start barking. Here we go. Whoa, 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 whoa. Nice job. And now, my friends, the moment you've all been waiting for. We're going to splash into the river. In the unlikely event of a water emergency, we have life preservers overhead. Life preservers with red tabs are for people 90 pounds and below. Ready? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Here we go! ask me what I did to my neck?
Xe chuẩn bị xuống nước nha.
The Charles River is 80 miles long. It starts in Hopkinton, Massachusetts. It's about 30 feet deep at its deepest. There are about 25 species of freshwater fish. If you got your phones out the window, you're going to want to be careful with them. If you drop them, they're all gone. Are you ready? It's going to be cool. We're about to become a boat. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? It's going to be so awesome. Here we go! Welcome to the Charles River. We did it. Can everybody in the back still hear me? Yeah. Do you wish that you couldn't? I understand. Am I too loud for anybody? No? All right. Now my family of sharks would like to sing you a song to welcome you to the river. Here we go. Are you ready? Here we go. Doot, doot, doot. A doot, doot, doot. But we love that dirty water. Oh, oh, a Boston, you're my home. Doot, doot. A doot, doot, doot. Everybody. Doot, doot, doot. A doot, doot, doot. 45 more minutes of this. I'm just kidding. That'd be a nightmare. In the 1960s, the Environmental Protection Agency gave the Charles River a grade of a D- for cleanliness, and that's bad. We all know that a D- is just a polite F so that the river doesn't fail out of school. The song that the Sharks were singing was actually written by a band from San Diego called the Standouts. That's how dirty this river was. We had a nationwide reputation for our pollution.
Ba mẹ con.
We didn't like that, so we put a bunch of organizations in charge of cleaning up the river. The Charles River Watershed Association, the Charles River Cleanup Boat, the Department of Conservation and Recreation, and the Environmental Protection Agency came together to clean up the river. And believe it or not, through their efforts, today this is the cleanest urban waterway in the United States. Let's quack at this guy in the bike. 1, 2, 3, my bag! We're about to float under the Craigie Bridge. We just drove over that bridge and now we're going to float under it in the same vehicle. It's pretty neat. The Craigie Bridge opens for taller boats and it's a Bascule style bridge. My friends, if you could keep your arms inside the duck windows. You know the song I'm talking about. You've heard it a million times. Just because there are baby sharks doesn't mean we have to sing it. Pretty That horn is a safety measure to warn boats we're coming out of the lock here. Into the upper basin we go. That breeze feels brilliant. In a few moments, Captain Drake is going to take you
Rớt đồ hoài. Nó khoái cái gì trời. Trời khoái cái gì.
We need to find a new captain. There are new requirements for our new captains. They have to be young. They have to have Spider-Man glasses.
Một hoạt động mà các bé rất thích là được lên ngồi ghế bắt tài để thử lái tàu.
Would any other kids like to try driving the duck boat? You want to drive? What's your name, my friend? Evelyn, come on up. Captain Evelyn, everybody. We're going to get Evelyn up first, my friend. Yeah, he's going to go first. We're going to go. You'll be next, okay? Evelyn, where are you from, my friend? Quincy. I got you. You're next, my friend, okay? Evelyn, look over here. Nice. Nice. You ever driven a boat before? Pretty cool, right? All you gotta do is aim for the water.
Cái tàu bên kia rồi. Một
This
chiếc
is
cho nó.
Longfellow Bridget, one of our duck boats here on the left. Captain Evelyn, do you like stickers? All right, you're gonna get an I drove a duck sticker. Thanks so much, Captain Evelyn. Come on down, and this guy's gonna be next.
Mấy đứa nhỏ lên lái tàu.
One more time for Captain Evelyn. It's your turn. Come on up, my friend. Have a seat right here. You can pass the camera up to me. What's this guy's name? Where are you folks from? Montreal! Bonjour, bienvenue. You ever driven a boat before? He's like, yeah. Je parle français, mais un petit peu. Massachusetts Turnpike from Fenway Park. Fenway Park is America's oldest active major league ballpark, home of the Boston Red Sox, built in 1912. The Citgo sign is also where the landfill in the Back Bay landfill project begins. Everything to the left is Citgo sign, so all of the land in front of the duck boat used to be the Back Bay of the Charles River. The building that looks like Jenga blocks upriver is Boston University's Center for Computing and Data Science.
Yeah.
And here's our beautiful Back Bay skyline with the Esplanade in the
Quay
foreground.
lại hả?
3 of the top floors of the Prudential Tower are observation floors called View Boston. You can go up there and get a tremendous view
Không thử mùi cái
of the
dòng sông.
eastern part of Massachusetts up there.
Nó mới định
The
nữa.
boathouse on the right is called Community Boating. That is the oldest public sailing school in the United States. They started teaching adults and kids how to sail in the 1940s. Leonard Nimoy, spotted in Star Trek, learned how to sail there because he was a famous West End resident. In fact, if you look at the boats on those docks, they don't tie off, they just cling on. When we come out from under the bridge, I want you to look to the right. You're going to see a beautiful stone building between 2 trees. This building used to be the old Charles Street Jail. The jail was shut down in 1990 because it was deemed unfit for human habitation. The building with that little yellow cupola on it behind the trees. We moved all the prisoners to that fancy brick jail that we drove by. The glass building is one of many buildings that belongs to Massachusetts General Hospital. Widely considered to be one of the best hospitals in the world, founded in 1811. They had the first X-ray unit of any hospital in the United States. They had the first documented use of ether as an anesthetic during surgery at that hospital. Prior to that advancement, surgeries happened when you were still awake. Oh, thank you. They give you a shot of whiskey and a leather strap to bite down on. Then they cross their fingers and hope for the
Cái
best.
xe tạo bệnh á.
All of the stones holding back the Boston side of the river are pieces of the old West End tenement buildings. In fact, if you look on the right, you'll see an archway that used to be above a window in one of those tenement buildings. Check it out. They've got a world-renowned vocal surgeon here at Mass General Hospital. As a kid, his parents used to take him to the Museum of Science every weekend. Get this. Bloomberg credits the Museum of Science for inspiring him to become a self-made billionaire. I don't know about that, because I go to the museum every weekend and look where I ended up. I guess me and Bloomberg made some different decisions. On the back of the museum's a big white tent and a green pavilion. That is where the museum has their private events. You can book a birthday party there. You can have a work event there. You can even get married at the Museum of Science, but only if you and your partner have chemistry. Uh-oh, here comes a duck boat. What should we do for Waterfront Wanda coming our way? I think we should sing YMCA. You know the hand gestures? Yeah, you got it. All right, they're going to quack at us. We're going to be a disco duck. We're all going to be village people just for a short minute. It's going to be awesome. They're taking a sharp turn, but we're still going to be a disco duck. Here we go. On my cue, here we go. Dan, 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 show. Every once in a while, it strikes me as odd when they pay me for this. We've got a charity program here at Boston Duck Tours. It's called Quack, Quack, Give Back. You can add $1 to your Duck Tour ticket. You can do that. Super generous, since our tickets are not cheap. At the end of the year, we take all that extra money, we match it. We donate to clean water programs, education funds, and veteran services. If you look at the canopy above our heads, these are all active U.S. military members and U.S. veteran signatures. Any veterans or military on board today? Thank you for your service, my friends. If you'd like to sign the roof of the individual, I got Sharpies in my bag. Here comes another duck boat. I think for this duck boat, we should pretend that we're sweeping. They're going to think there's a gas leak on our duck boat. It's going to be awesome. All right, everybody. sleepy, feel free to snore. They're gonna quack at us. They might even yell, "Wake up!" Let's see what happens. Here they come. That was awesome. What branch of the military were you in, my friend? Navy? What'd you do for the Navy? Submarines? Awesome. How'd you, my friend? You work with the Navy submarines? Let's make some noise for these guys who served in the Navy. We also let celebrities sign the room. Do we have any celebrities on board today? Some of you look familiar. We have to ask because last year Reese Witherspoon took a duck tour. We didn't recognize her. She posted pictures on her Instagram. She had a great time. Our theory is we would have recognized her if she was Witherspoon.
Ủa nó đi đường nào mà nãy mình đâu đi ngang đầu này. Nó đi đường khác
In
kìa.
front of us is the Zaco Bridge,
Ở bên kia đúng không?
crown jewel of the Big Dig, the Central Artery Tunnel Project, largest and most expensive public works project in United States history. Interstate 93 used to be a raised central artery highway that cut the city of Boston into two segments. We took that highway, put it underground, made it wider and covered it with the Rose Kennedy Greenway. That's what the Big Dig project was. That project was supposed to cost $2 billion, but we did way better than that. The city of Boston spent $26 billion. That's how you know the project went exactly according to plan. I'm going to give these to you now so I don't forget. You can scope out your location and sign when we get back to the bridge. The Big Dig, we spent that much more money than was budgeted. $24 billion more than was budgeted. Totally worth it too, because before the Big Dig, Boston had the first worst traffic in the United States. For these pilings, there's a double-crested cormorants. These can dive up to 25 feet deep. They don't have any oil in their feathers, so after a dive, they've got to dry off in weird positions up there on the pilings. Captain Drake is re-engaging front-wheel drive. Behind the Zaco Bridge, you can see the Converse headquarters. You can tell which building it is because it's got high tops. Pretty soon, Captain Drake is going to honk the horn. That horn is to warn duck boats that we're coming out of the water. The duck boats in the river get the right of way. Please keep your hands, cameras, and phones inside the windows as we go under the tunnel. At the top of the ramp, we're going to enter phase 3 of the duck tour. We've already toured the land, we've already toured the water. At the top of the ramp, we're going to hit 200 miles per hour. We're going to tour the sky. When our tires hit the ramp, Captain Drake will turn off the propeller. We'll switch from navigation lights back to disengage front-wheel drive, and it'll pull us up the ramp. It's going to be awesome. Red Sox Nathan and Captain Drake do the hard work on tour. I just point at things and make dad jokes. Here we go. Almost there. And we did it. Let's give it up for Captain Drake, everybody. Right here is Boston Sand and Gravel. Couple of action movie shots and scenes here. If you've ever seen The Town with Ben Affleck, his character actually works in these buildings here on the right. In the movie, The Equalizer.
Chị đứng kìa.
Interesting origin story behind the Lynch family skate park. This is the largest outdoor skate park in New England. Nancy Schoen, who designed the make way for duckling sculptures and the tortoise and the hare sculptures in the back bay.
That's cool.
She saw some skateboarders doing some gnarly tricks off her sculptures and she was not psyched about it. So she confronted them. And as she confronted them, she realized how athletic those guys were. And she was a runner, so rather than scold them, she decided to help them find a better place to skate. So she talked to her friends who worked for the city of Cambridge, helped find and secure that land. And then Peter Lynch from Fidelity Investments funded the building of the massive Lynch family skate park. Now, speaking of massive, coming up on the right is the largest soccer field that I've ever seen. My friend and I like to play one-on-one here. We both play goalie.
That's a mini one.
It's always 0-0. I think we need more friends. How many people have heard the story of the Great Molasses Flood? That's a real thing that happened here in Boston in 1919. It was a disaster caused by greed. In 1919, the United States was going to ban the sale of alcohol with a bill called Prohibition. Can you believe that? No alcohol? Can I get a round of booze? You couldn't back then. They banned booze. Any alcohol made before the bill was signed would be legal to sell. So this company called the Purity Distilling Company built a 2.6 million gallon tank of molasses on Commercial Street in the North End. Oh my gosh, let's stare at this tugboat like we're having a bad time. Just stare at them. Just stare at them. Nice, that was awesome. You know the big tank in the middle? That big giant ocean tank? The biggest tank in the aquarium is only 220,000 gallons. That means this molasses tank was more than 10 times that size. Let's quack at our dispatchers. 1, 2, 3, my bad. Arthroscopic wave the other direction. Did you see that? It's my trick. On January 15th, 1919, it was an unseasonably warm January day after a very cold night. And because of the dramatic temperature change, the 2.5 million gallons of molasses began to expand, and the tank was too weak to hold it. So the tank exploded. It sent a 40-foot tidal wave of molasses down Commercial Street, all the way across the street. And I was walking from the Science Park train station over to the museum to give tours. And there was a tractor trailer in this lane with its right blinker on, about to go down Storrow Drive. So I jumped into the street, dressed just like this, in front of the tractor trailer, and I pointed the signs that say no trucks, cars only, low clearance. And the guy driving the truck put his head out the window, looked me up and down, and we had a staring contest for like 15 seconds. One of the advantages of dressing like this is you tend to do well in staring contests. Eventually, the guy turned his blinker off and came this way. Now, I don't tell you that story because I think I'm a hero. I tell you that story because it's hilarious to think about the story that guy told later that day. Because he went back home or back to work and said, listen, I promise I haven't been drinking, but I'm pretty sure this morning the ghost of Paul Revere saved my truck. I should have yelled, the bridges are coming, the bridges are coming. I blew it. Coming up on our left is that last tenement building again, 42 Lamassey Street. I find this particular view to be more dramatic and more indicative of where all those old tenement buildings used to be. On the bridge here it says the greatest neighborhood this side of heaven. That's what they called the West End. These tenements were formed what was called urban villages. Immigrants from Ireland, Israel, Russia, Italy, and lots of black Americans displaced, pushed in the suburbs, which works for me. Because if I took my job seriously, how can I take myself seriously? Look how they dress me. Amazing. I gotta wear this every day. I gotta wear this on the train in the morning. Before I'm even fully awake, I hear little kids go, look, Mom, it's a pirate. Clearly, I'm a lawyer. Grown men see me walking down the street, they slam on their brakes and go, hey, buddy! Everybody swipes left. This guy tells so many dad jokes, but he doesn't even have kids. Do you know what we call people who tell dad jokes, but they don't have kids? We call them faux pas. Faux pas. Nice. This is Causeway Street. If we took this left, we get to the oldest residential neighborhood in Boston. The North End. Today, the North End is an Italian neighborhood with nearly 100 Italian restaurants in a 5-block radius. The North End is original Shawmut Peninsula land, so the streets are too narrow for us to drive down. But if you get a chance, you gotta walk through the North End if you haven't already. Walk down Hanover Street, walk down Salem Street.
Còn mấy điểm nữa
Paul
đó
Revere's
vậy.
house is in the North End. It's the second oldest house in Boston, built in 1680. Paul's not home, that guy's wicked dead. How many people have heard of Paul Revere? You can thank Henry Wadsworth Longfellow for that. In 1861, Longfellow wrote a poem called Paul Revere's Ride. And he wrote that poem hoping people would read it, and afterwards they'd feel so patriotic that they'd sign up for the Union Army and fight in the American Civil War. That makes me laugh. You ever read a poem and felt super militant afterwards? One fish, two fish, red fish, give me the weapons. Now, Paul Revere was a jack of all trades, but he was relatively unknown before that poem was written. But he did everything. He was a coppersmith, He was a dentist, he was a silversmith, he was a Beastie Boys song. Drop the tiny shark. Paul Revere's Midnight Ride happened on April 18th, 1775. It wasn't just a leisurely pony ride. He was trying to make sure that John Hancock and Samuel Adams didn't get arrested. They were hiding in Lexington. They were wanted for treason for planning the Boston Tea Party. The Boston Tea Party happened December 16th, 1773. We thought the British were marching out there to arrest those two guys, but they were marching to Concord. That's where we stored our munitions. Before Paul Revere's Midnight Ride, there was a lantern system that he had devised with the sexton of the Old North Church, Robert Newman. The lantern system on the left here is the John F. Kennedy Federal Building. It houses the ATF, the FBI, the CIA, the NKOTB. Oh. If you got that joke, you've got the right stuff. If not, you're hanging tough. Just take it step by step. On the left here is Boston City Hall, another brutalist building. It opened in 1969. And coming up on the left, you'll see a giant golden tea kettle hanging up over the front door of a Starbucks. It was hung by the Oriental Tea Company in 1873. It holds 227 gallons, 2 quarts, 1 pint, and 3 gills of tea. If you go into that Starbucks and try to order 3 gills of tea, they will kick you out. I tell that joke a latte. Normally it gets 20 laughs, that time just tall. If you look down the street, you'll see a brick building. It's the old State House, built in 1713. That building is where the Declaration of Independence was read in Boston for the first time, July 18, 1776. Coming up on the left is the oldest European burying ground in Boston, the King's Chapel burying ground. Colonial Governor John Winthrop is buried in here. So is Mary Chilton, the first woman to step off of the Mayflower in 1620. The church on the corner. This is King's Chapel. That was the first Anglican church in Boston. On the left here, Omni Parker House, oldest continually run hotel in America. Malcolm X worked here as a busboy. Ho Chi Minh worked here as a pastry chef. Charles Dickens stayed here for 6 months in the 1850s. The Boston cream pie was invented there. On the left is the Tremont Temple Baptist Church, the first integrated church in America. And on our right, this is the Granary Burying Ground. 3 signers of the Declaration of Independence are buried here. John Hancock, Robert Treat-Paine, and Samuel Adams. On the left, the Beantown Pub. The Beantown Pub is the only place in the world where you can drink a cold Sam Adams while you're looking across the street at a cold Sam Adams.
I love that joke.
Too soon? All of the victims of the Boston Massacre are buried here. Benjamin Franklin's parents are buried here. 9 former governors of Massachusetts are buried here. John Phillips, the first mayor of Boston, is buried here. Paul Revere is buried here. 14 of Paul Revere's 16 children are buried here. The other 2 kids are still alive. They're very old. They work at the DMV. They just want to make sure you take your midnight ride legally. It's rumored that there were over 10,000 bodies buried at the granary. Tag me on Instagram, paparazzi. It's rumored that they were burying so many bodies in here they had to start burying them standing up to conserve room. The tall stone in the back is John Hancock's grave. This brick building is the Park Street Church, built in 1809. Their first preacher's name was Edward Beecher. That was Harriet Beecher Stowe's brother. She wrote one of the most influential books in U.S. history, Uncle Tom's Cabin. The song America, My Country 'Tis of Thee, was sung on these front steps for the first time July 4th, 1831. William Lloyd Garrison, the founder of the Liberator, the abolitionist, hugging his wife, Coretta Scott King. After it was announced he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, big giant bronze sculpture here on the right, designed by Hank Willis Thomas. It lights up at night, the sidewalk around it, engraved with famous civil rights leaders' names. The gazebo in the center of the common is called the Parkman Bandstand. In April of 1965, 2 years after his I Have a Dream speech, Martin Luther King marched from Roxbury, Massachusetts to that gazebo and spoke for 22,000 people. In the pouring rain at a peace rally, Dr. King went to Boston University. Coretta Scott King went to the New England Conservatory of Music. They actually met here in Boston. The blue fence in the middle of the common, that is the Commonwealth Shakespeare stage for their production of The Winter's Tale. Sadly, their run has finished. They're taking the stage apart right now. The Shakespeare in the Park happens every summer. We're creeping into Emerson College's campus. It's thrown all about our theater district here. We have 13
ABC đây nhiều quá.
theater district.
Cái này là chỗ công ty của Nhẫn làm.
Mà nó là
It opened in the
cái
year
xe
Công ty chính đó.
cái headquarter của nó nằm
Just behind the trees here on the right, you'll see it. On the left, Guy Fieri's Kitchen and Bar. Flavor Town. It's on the first floor of the oldest Masonic lodge in the country, unless you ask people from Philadelphia. Don't do that. And on the left is the only mosaic in the world that features two beavers arguing with a seagull over a twig. Emerson College, known for its performing arts classes and lots of famous alumni. In the Wilbur and the Wang Theater. The Wang Theater is the 5th largest theater stage in the United States. Coming up on the right, here's the Emerson Cutler Majestic Theater. And on the left is the TAM. When we drive by the TAM, we will be passing the bar. That means you're all going to be lawyers. That's how I did it. I walked past the bar, turned around, went in, had a bunch of drinks, told everybody I was a lawyer. You'd be surprised how many people walk away from you when you're dressed like this. United States, that was exclusively for women. It opened in 1908. When it first opened, it was called the Portia School of Law, named after Portia from William Shakespeare's play, The Merchant of Venice. In that play, Portia had to defend a friend in court. Women were not yet allowed to do that, so she dressed up like a man, went to court, successfully defended her friend. You can see Nick's Comedy Stop here on the left. It's the oldest comedy club in Boston. It opened in 1977. And down the end of that street is the Charles Playhouse, where the Blue Man Group has their Boston residency. We're turning onto this Charles Street again. This is the banks of the old Charles River, so everything that we'll be driving on once we make this turn. Until we get back to the Prudential, used to be water. Let's quack at these folks. 1, 2, 3, my back! Coming up on the left is where we stop to get gas. Chipotle. I don't know who that statue is, but whoever they are, they're unstable. Someone said it was the mayor, but that would mean they'd have to win the Gallup polls. That'll be all, thank you. Am I a little hoarse? Normally more people laugh at that. On the left here is the Boston Park Plaza Hotel. It opened in 1927. When it first opened, it was called the Statler Hotel. It's named after their first owner and operator, named E.M. Statler. Only 2 presidents since 1927 have not stayed here. Those are George W. Bush and Barack Obama. Audrey Hepburn has stayed here, Winston Churchill has stayed here. The reason so many VIPs stay at the Park Plaza, super easy hotel to secure. There's no parking garage underneath it or attached to it, which makes it so much easier to protect. Women were not yet allowed to do that, so she dressed up like a man, went to court, successfully defended her friend. You can see Nick's Comedy Stop here on the left. It's the oldest comedy club in Boston. It opened in 1977. And down the end of that street is the Charles Playhouse, where the Blue Man Group has their Boston residency. We're turning onto this Charles Street again. This is the banks of the old Charles River, so everything that we'll be driving on once we make this turn. Until we get back to the Prudential, used to be water. Let's quack at these folks. 1, 2, 3, my back! Coming up on the left is where we stop to get gas. Chipotle. I don't know who that statue is, but whoever they are, they're unstable. Someone said it was the mayor, but that would mean they'd have to win the Gallup polls. That'll be all, thank you. Am I a little hoarse? Normally more people laugh at that. On the left here is the Boston Park Plaza Hotel. It opened in 1927. When it first opened, it was called the Statler Hotel. It's named after their first owner and operator, named E.M. Statler. There's no parking garage underneath it or attached to it, which makes it so much easier to protect. It used to be water. Underneath the Back Bay is an underground underwater forest of 40-foot wooden pilings. Additional and necessary supports so our older and larger buildings don't collapse into the landfill. Underneath the Arlington Street Church is 999 40-foot wooden pilings. Underneath the Trinity Church, 4,502 of them. On the right, Church of the Covenant again, tallest steeple in Boston. On the left, brick building with an American flag on it. That's where the Pledge of Allegiance was written, in that building right there. She's named Katie Copley, with a duck boat named after Katie. Any room at the Fairmont Copley can be upgraded to a dog-friendly suite. You can bring your dogs in there. They don't care. They love it. This is the hotel that inspired the Sweet Lighting stop. For safety reasons, Captain Drake and I will be the first 2 off the duck boat. If you've got questions about the tour, need directions, recommendations, or would like a photograph, I'll be at the ladder when we conclude with my shark puppet family. Until then, Let's make some noise for Captain Drake for keeping us nice and safe on shore. Let's make some noise for our two friends who served time in the Navy. My friends, the closest restroom is going to be across the street at the Marriott Hotel. The jury has reached a verdict, my friends. They found Creedence Commonwealth guilty of having a great time. Did y'all have a great time? I did too. If you'd like to leave gratuity for a job well done, but you don't want to use cash, Creedence does accept Venmo. Let's get the quack out of our system so we don't have a quack accident. 1, 2, 3, my bag. 1, 2, 3, my bag. One more time. 1, 2, 3, my bag. It was an honor and a privilege to give you a tour of Boston today, my friends. On behalf of Captain Drake and Boston Duck Tours, my name is Creedence Commonwealth. The new world's first personal injury lawyer.
Tới nơi.
We should be parked here in just a few seconds. Please remain seated until we're fully stopped. My friend Will's gonna help us back up here.
Yeah.
I couldn't even do what Captain Drake's about to do with a Prius. Watch this guy parallel park at DUKW. This is awesome. Give it up one more time for Captain Drake. And one more time, my friends. 1, 2, 3, my back. Great job, everybody. I will see you at the bottom of the ladder. Enjoy the rest of your day. Terrific work, my friends. Terrific work. Terrific work. Well done, everybody. Well done. Thank you so much, my friends. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just watch your legs, okay? And watch your feet as this comes down.
Yeah. Thank you.
Ladder coming down.
Rồi đi xuống.
Yeah, thank you.
Rồi.
Thank you so much. I hope you had a good time. Very kind of you. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day, my friend.
Thank you. Bye bye.